Recently in the meeting at 6, we had a public hearing first, so we're in the middle of the meeting. Anybody that is filming, you want to identify yourself if recording. Okay, public speakers, Ann Sutton, salt trucks not doing side streets. If you come to the podium, is Ann here? She's not. Sue Pond, alleyway behind her home. You must have ran out of seats. John Walters, property transfers and occupancy permits. John.
So I get their time right.
Keep it brief, John.
All right.
How are you?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Thank you for this opportunity to address you with these comments. Thank you also for those of you who have shown interest in my comments of the last meeting, and to those of you who have come by to observe the property about which my comments were made. I came to the last meeting with some questions about property transfer in our neighborhood. I received some answers such as they were, and have returned this meeting to respond. A failure has occurred in this case. It seems to have slipped through the cracks. Possibly the owner was never informed that an occupancy permit was required to move in. Certainly Mr. Cannon had no knowledge the property was being occupied and was before he had ever been there. He never would have visited the property if my wife had not called on 11/11/13. This is very disconcerting, frightening, really, to those of us who have been subjected to the fees and inspections and made the timely necessary repairs to occupy our properties. The occupancy permit is supposed to protect us from hazards and the neglect of absentee landlords. It only works if everyone is subjected to the same scrutiny and required to make repairs prior to occupation. Otherwise, once someone has moved into a property, what leverage does the borough have to require these repairs? At the last meeting, Mr. Cannon stated that he had issued a temporary occupancy permit dated 11/11/3, 2 or 3 days before he had ever been on the premises. He also stated that all that was needed was some exterior paint on the window trim with a due date of sometime next summer. His inspection has missed a broken basement window, clogged gutters, ineffectual drainage from rain barrels, and this is only the exterior. We do not believe Mr. Cannon when he says that he has done his job in this case. A timeline of my wife's attempts to contact Mr. Cannon in regard to this property is included in this packet. There is also an email dated September 12th, 2013 at 7:47 and 8 seconds a.m. It is too lengthy to read at this time, but it is a general statement concerning the condition of the abandoned house, and it informs him of vermin on the property. This email was never returned and denied by Mr. Cannon at the last meeting. He also tried a few times by phone with no response. Mr. Cannon denies these calls as well, but I assure him they were made. He finally returned the first call to us on 11/12/13 and gave us his cell number. We do not feel that Mr. Cannon was on top of this situation, especially since his first call to us came after the property was already occupied. The current owner of the property is under the impression that we are persecuting him. I assure him that this is not true. This is not personal, it is business. I have to protect the value of our property and the viability of our rental unit above. If Mr. Cannon will not compel him to make the necessary repairs on this property, then I must. These repairs, I stress, should have been made before his occupation of the property, not sometime next summer. Is not the owner of 201 Emerson Avenue subject to the same rules as everyone else? The next time I have to suffer one of his inspections, do you think Mr. Cannon will give me until sometime next summer? He did explain at one point that a homeowner could live at a property while working on it. Is this true? I can find no reference to a temporary occupancy permit in the municipal code. I request that a copy of the code that allows for the issuance of an open-ended temporary permit be put aside for me. I would like to pick it up tomorrow. For if that provision exists, what is the purpose for the occupancy permit to begin with? We have to seriously consider whether we will submit to any more inspections and whether we will remit any fees in the future. This permit requirement has failed us and the community. As we see more and more properties falling into disrepair and abandonment, we do not feel confident that it is able to safeguard us from the urban rot that killed Homestead caused by slumlords who do not maintain their property. And do not be fooled by the notion that there are no slumlords in Munhall. We feel that the occupancy permit is a con, a stand for revenue only, because we are watching it fail in its intended purpose. I am very pessimistic that my comments here this evening will yield any results. I only know that I had to come and say what has been said. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.